Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are on the website of Mehlis auctioneers based in Germany, and we're going to have a look at some musical instruments for sale in their 105th auction. So this is a gigantic auction, loads of different stuff, but we're just looking at the musical instrument section. This particular auction is running from the 24th to 26th of February. It's the 23rd today, and the musical instrument part of this auction is happening tomorrow on February the 24th. So if you're interested in anything, then make sure that you watch out for that. Buyer's premium on this auction is 23%. You can find all the information up here. So remember, if you are bidding outside of Germany, then you need to expect some kind of fees, especially if you're outside of kind of Europe, international, etc. So check all that information. There's not very many items on this auction, so we're going to just really run through this pretty quickly and just see what they have. It's kind of 30 or 40 items or something like that. So yeah, without further ado, let's crack on. So we've got a violin here, Goa violin. €50 is the starting bid. A kind of Mittenwald violin from '94. Pictures are kind of okay here. We don't need to go into this let's look a bit more. We don't need to go into too much detail on that. And a violin from Joseph Felix Riedel from 1880. Let's have a look a bit more here. Kind of almost a Brescian type thing. It's quite long, 360 back. See if we can get some translation on. It's a bow with it, marked tubs. Actually quite a number of photos. Yeah, it's got a kind of scroll there, a Magini type scroll. There's some pictures of the bow as well. Okay. And then we've got a violin by August Clemens Gleer, Mark de Kirkin, 1824. It's a bow as well. €1,500 is the estimate for that. Quite crisp pictures actually, not too bad. There's a picture of the bow there with the taut stamp. The Riedel violin is also 1,500 starting bid. It's a violin, 20th century, with a Strad label. Another one fairly long note at the back. This is one of these kind of trade instruments. These pictures make them look very good, though. I have to say the photographer is pretty good. These seem better than the previous Mehlis pictures, but yeah, these are generally pretty decent. I can't really fault that. It's good photos. Another violin in 1930s, Strad kind of copy. It's probably fairly a standard kind of thing. It's like that kind of dark red varnish. Okay. And a violin with bow. Okay. It's kind of 1920s, like tradey Steiner type thing. Well, stop with the Steiner label. €80 is the starting bid there. We've got a cello here, Frechner cello, €100 at the starting bid. Nothing too outrageous there. Another violin here, end of the 19th century, €20 is your starting bid there. Not too bad, quite a long back. And another 19th century with a Klotz label, same kind of shield pattern at the back, and it's had some kind of fret things added to it. €200 there. At least the back length is 35.6, so it's not too bad. Scroll is kind of nice enough. And violin labelled Ackermann and Lesser in Dresden. Got €80 on that. And we've got another violin saying 1939, Johannes Alder Werkstatten, Marknerkirchen. €600 there. And Master Violin by Fritz Monig, €2,000 here, 1956. Have a quick look at the scroll. There you go. Another kind of violin with a Strad label there. Looks to be Schuster and Co. there saying this is. Okay, this is a slightly more interesting lot here. They're saying it's an old Italian violin in the style of or with a label for Ballesteri. It's quite curious. Looks like it's going to be made potentially as some kind of slight nod to Ballesteri. The front of the scroll does look a little bit like a Ballesteri, but not really either, and the purfling and the and the side of the scroll definitely kind of not, but €4,000 is what they're looking for. They're saying it's got a repair label from 1842, ready to play, restored in 1975 according to previous owner. 35.7 is the length of the back, but it's probably the most interesting item that we're going to see today, quite possibly. And a master violin by Paulus Freiberg, 1500 on this. And a master violin by Udo Wunderlich, €1,400 on this. Yeah, very good pictures for sure. Master violin by R. Kurt Hoyer, €1,300 there. It's a starting bid, double purfling, Magini model as they say there. Gone a bit too far there. Violin from 1930s, €20 kind of start. Pretty standard kind of trade thing. And a 3/4 mid 20th century, Anton Becker. €80 the start bid there. Violin, first half of the 20th century, €20 start bid again. Just a kind of low level trade violin. And a violin, 1930s. Fairly standard looking thing. Okay. And then a violin, Czech Republic, first half of the 20th century. It's a pretty low level trade violin with some funny bits going on. 1920s violin, no label. Interesting bird's eye back and double purfling. Curious F holes as well, actually. It's a bit of an interesting one. €20 is the start bid on that. And a half-size violin, first half of the 20th century. Another kind of trade-ish type thing. Okay, one more on here, 1920s violin. More bird's eye. Okay. Too far again, and on to the next page. Violin, 20th century, €80 start bid. Looks like another trade violin, but slightly more interesting than some of the normal ones we see. 1920s violin here. Just a trade violin for sure. A 7/8 violin here, 1930s. Conservatory brand on the back there, and on the headstock as well. Classic kind of trade violin. Some of the skulls on these are actually quite nice. And a 3/4 violin, 1930s. (1920s) violin. Interesting scroll there. And it's another 1930s violin. It's a bit more interesting. This one is fairly nice, at least aesthetically. And here we are, a 20th century violin, Magini kind of double purfling in crazy scroll. Standard type thing, nothing too exciting. Another 1920s violin. Nothing too crazy here either. It's pretty normal. And 1930s violin. And a violin, a Cesar Candy. This is probably the most high value lot. It looks in very impressive condition actually. Genoa, about 1946. Let's just quickly translate to make sure that we're not missing anything. Branding stamp accompanied by a copy of a certificate of authenticity from Enzo Barbieri, 1982. Interesting. Always a little bit cautious of some of these Italian violins at auction, especially when they're in such kind of good looking condition as this from the 40s. €6,500 starting bid. That's quite a lot. There's a copy of a certificate, so yeah, definitely would want to know a bit more about that maker in any case. So double harmonica like a bass harmonica, double bass harmonica. Interesting, not seen one like that before. It's like a multiple harmonica, 6 openings. That's pretty impressive. Hohner kind of double, what looks like a double harmonica, or potentially not. Yep. 2 clarinets, no, 3 clarinets. Wagmuller, Munich, Pettenrieder, and a J.G. Sealing, Dresden. It's a bit of a random auction. €100 is a starting bid for that. Quite a few clarinets there, 6 clarinets in total. 20th century, Oswald Alder, Krusfoot, others unmarked, €150 to start. I've got a tenor saxophone, Nova saxophone, €180 there, starting bid. And an accordion, 20th century, Hohner, nice enough. Yeah, and that's the end of the auction. The picture's pretty good actually, quite impressed. I think these are better than before, or maybe I just never really looked at them properly, but yeah, quite good. Mostly kind of trade stuff, but there's a few potential Italian or other interesting kind of German, better quality violins for sure. I think probably the most interesting violin is this kind of Italian one with the Ballesteri label. That has definitely got an interesting back to it, so that one's definitely worth kind of investigating. But yeah, so this is it. This is the Mehlis musical instrument section of their 105th auction, and that will be happening tomorrow. So if you're interested, I'll put a link in the description and check it out and see what you think. So until next time, take care and ciao for now. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.